Hello, horror fanatics. Today I'm going to be talking about and reviewing a very interesting film from 1989 called Puppet Master. So, Puppet Master. Puppet Master is, of course, the first film in the Puppet Master series, which at this point has something like 10 sequels. Of course, Full Moon Pictures are responsible for these films, quite possibly the largest, or at least one of the largest, maybe along with Troma, independent horror film companies pretty much ever in existence. The film revolves around a set of puppets who have been brought to life by Puppet Master Andre Toulon, who has used Egyptian magic and or Egyptian secrets to bring inanimate objects back to life. And it just so happens that the inanimate objects that he chooses to bring to life are the puppets that he constructed so well. These puppets vary in size and shape and look. Some have knives as hands, some are really large and muscular, at least in puppet form, some look like jesters, some emit leeches from their mouth, and all are pretty awesome in their own unique way. Now, I saw Puppet Master for the first time when I was quite young, and it, along with Child's Play, were sort of responsible for the early development of my interest in killer toy films, or at least films where you have some kind of inanimate object or toy or doll which comes to life and ultimately turns evil. And this interest has really stuck with me over the years. I have a very strong interest in films ranging from the Puppet Master series, to Child's Play, to the demonic toys, to Dolls, which is also another Full Moon picture, to other films that kind of rely on bringing inanimate objects back to life, like Pinocchio, and some other films, Dolly Dearest. And all of these films are really interesting to me. It is unfortunate to say, however, that the Puppet Master films, or at least the first Puppet Master film, doesn't quite live up to the expectations that I had set for it when I was younger. That is to say, when I was younger, I really feel like I built up the film as being something spectacular, but upon rewatching it later, I've in fact discovered that it's not really all that great. Now, that's not to say that the film is terrible or isn't worth watching, but upon rewatching it, essentially the issue here is that the film takes a long time to get going. You expect in a film like this often that um, is entirely revolving around the puppets, that the puppets would actually be in the film a lot, but in fact the puppets really aren't in the film all that much, and the first kill from the puppets doesn't even arrive until something like 45 minutes into the film, and the film is only about 80 minutes long, so you don't even really see the puppets do anything worthwhile until about 60 or 70% of the way into the movie. Now, when the puppets finally do start to get going and are given some screen time, they have some really awesome scenes. You've got Blade, who is the puppet with the knife on his hand, who has some really interesting kills. You have Drill Bit, I forget his name, but he has a drill on his head, and he also has some interesting scenes that are really well animated. And that's really the main thing that is worth watching about the film, is the puppet animation. Some people may find it um, maybe archaic or maybe antiquated in some way, but I actually found that it had a really interesting look to it, and it definitely captured kind of the 80s, kind of the 80s authentic effects I thought. And I really enjoyed the puppetry a lot, and that was certainly the primary thing that motivated me to want to continue to watch the rest of the series. Now, speaking of the rest of the series, the original Puppet Master actually I don't think is the best in the series. I think that the third is probably the best and is generally well regarded amongst the Puppet Master community. And oftentimes there isn't really any connection between the films, or it's difficult to find it. Sometimes they just don't make sense, or some films just act as if the film before it or another film just didn't exist at all. So it's worth saying that in fact you probably could just go straight to the third film if you really wanted to, but I do think that this is probably worth watching, if only just to introduce yourself to the series and the characters and so forth. So on that, or in that regard, I would say that the film is worth watching, and I would say that I have a very brief recommendation or a very subtle recommendation to watch the movie. Overall, though, on my SCAR scale, I would say that I would give this film about 3.5 scars, and this is primarily due to the fact that the puppetry is really neat, and once the film actually does get going, it's pretty decent, but it does take a little while, and that might bore some people. So, thanks for watching, stay tuned, and I shall see you soon.